following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy. I'm Tank Spencer. Jeremy Greene is alongside, and a happy Thursday morning to you all. We are in the Wicked Weed studio live, wickedweedbrewing.com. Wicked Weed Brewing, drink different, and it's Threadbare Thursday. It's anything you want talked about, we will discuss. We'll get you caught up on the latest news and all of that going on in the NFL as we prepare for the kickoff of Week 8.
Yeah, sorry, we try to be on time, but there's not a clock outside.
Well,
so
when
we're
you
cramming down heaters, shit happens.
Well,
sometimes.
when you get caught up outside having discussions with news guys about the Washington football team scandal, that seems to happen.
Yeah, the news guys only acknowledge us when something bad happens.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's the only time that their world comes across into our world. It's like, hey, we have something to talk about now. I'm like, yeah, I guess so. I'd rather talk to you about, the Grateful Dead band you're going to see this weekend. But, well, it is what it is. Yeah. Welcome, everybody, into the chat. And, fire away all those questions that you need answered for Week 8 in the NFL. Tonight, we got the Arizona Cardinals and the Green Bay Packers. It's the greatest Thursday night matchup we've ever had. And yet, there's fate. Fate took a big old duty on this matchup by having Devontae Adams out and Alan Lazard and J.J. Watt's now going to miss the rest of the season because of a shoulder injury.
Okay, first of all, you're going to turn my headphones up because I feel like I'm screaming.
Oh, okay.
Because I cannot hear my.
How's that? Is that better? Is that better?
That's what we're looking for.
You need that all echoing in your head?
Well, here's the thing. I'm fucking deaf. So if I can't hear me, I'm just going to talk louder, and I already do that.
It is strange when it's not that perfect level in your ear. If you've never talked into a microphone with headphones on, it does feel like you're kind of deaf. Like you're underwater, and you're screaming, but you can't hear yourself.
Yeah, but nothing's happening. It's not going to the level that you want it to. So we got a couple questions on the Facebook page that I wanted to start with.
All right.
The first one was it's actually a two-parter from Stephen Towle.
Okay.
You're always telling me to jump off the Jets bandwagon.
Yes, I am.
And Stephen's question was, if you had to root for a different team, who would it be?
If I had to root for...
I have a dedicated answer to this because I've been asked this no less than 50 times.
Oh, God. I'm going to go with Carolina Panthers. If the Buccaneers didn't exist, they exploded as a franchise tomorrow, and I have the most history with the Carolina Panthers because there was a time in my life where I tried to be both at the same time, and it just, I don't know. It's like Forrest Gump said. Maybe both is happening at the same time.
Hey, Forrest Gump.
Yeah. I led you down that path for a reason.
There's a Forrest Gump thing happening.
No, I think
Halloween is Sunday.
Right.
So you should know that this show on Sunday, I'm going to be in costume.
Yeah, let me put it this way. Every NFL game I have ever seen, save for two, has been in Bank of America Stadium. And one of those games that I didn't see was in Clemson with the Carolina Panthers when they played their first season at Death Valley. It would definitely 100% be the Carolina Panthers. I would totally be all in, hometown team. Let's go, Panthers are my answer. Now, I want to flip this question on you because you have constantly said, I just hate every other team. So if you gun to your head, you had to take another team, who's your team?
I wouldn't.
Come on.
Straight up, I wouldn't. I've been asked this question no less than 50 times. I have tried to come up with an answer. There's not one. I hate every other team in the NFL to some level. I am a Jets fan. Yeah. That is the only team I give a fuck about.
Uh-huh.
And if it wasn't for that, if the Jets disbanded tomorrow,
yep,
I would 100% be a 10 times better gambler than I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because there would be no affinity whatsoever. I don't give a shit. Like, it would just become, I do not care. I want these games to be interesting, and I want to be entertained, and I want to make money off of it.
So you just wouldn't pick a new favorite team?
Nope. Jets disbanded. Now, if I didn't know the Jets were a thing and
There
I
you
was
go.
like 5 years old
There
again,
you go.
I really don't have an answer. Because I sure as hell wouldn't pull for the Giants.
Right.
I just don't.
But you wouldn't go to the hometown team. You wouldn't go to the Carolina Panthers. You wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't.
Not as much as you love Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals, despite their coach. You
That's
wouldn't
always
be.
been. If I had, like, you put a gun in my head and made me to pick a team, that's probably the one.
Okay.
It's probably the Arizona
Yeah,
Cardinals.
that was the whole reason
You
for
put
the
a gun
exercise.
in my head and go, I'm going to end it all if you don't answer this.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm getting a lot of support in the comments. That's really the right answer. If the Jets disbanded, okay, I'm just an NFL fan now. I'll be like Rob Lowe wearing an NFL hat. Like, I don't have a team.
Don't have a team.
I like the sport, and I like to bet on it.
Nah.
The second part of Stephen Tao's question was, other than Braveheart, what is my favorite movie? Braveheart's actually not my favorite movie.
Oh, can we play the guessing game? Can I try to guess?
Yeah, because I don't think you'll ever get it. But
Dark Knight.
that's in the top 5. All the Batman movies are. They
I
would
was
all
going
be
to
up there.
say. Dark Knight Rising. The Batman. I know you haven't seen it yet. The Joker. That was a good one, too. No, let's see.
There is one non-Batman movie that actually makes the list, and it is my favorite movie of all time.
Sling Blade.
If my wife, Sling Blade's high, but it's not the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
If my wife was in the comments, I guarantee you she would have already chimed it in.
Mm-hmm.
She's back at work. She had the great sickness fall upon her.
Well, I'm glad she's better.
She's back to work, and
I'm glad she's better.
she's out of the house. You know, she's not the only. I'm not the only person she's seeing now, so her life is much happier.
It's the real secret of Jeremy's life. He's really into My Fair Lady. He's just a big Audrey Hepburn
Chuck
fan.
G said "Still Magnolias." That's one of the few movies I've seen more than once. My mother loved that movie when I was growing up. The answer is Gladiator.
Okay.
But it's for one very specific reason.
Are you not entertained?
Well, that didn't hurt anything. But the fact that it was so realistic, and when he comes back and they've slaughtered his whole family, and I love real. One of the things that I hate about movies is that they never show what would really happen. Like, they never just look at the kid and go, "You run along, scamp." This is going to end bad.
Right.
Like, they show up with knives and guns.
Right.
They slaughter everybody, and they look at the kid and go, "You and old Spot run along." That's bullshit. That's not how that would go.
Right.
I mean, as soon as I saw that scene, I went, favorite movie of all time. Not because I'm pro killing children.
I was going to say.
I'm pro realism. That's the thing I hate about movies, is they're so fucking predictable. I just saw the new Halloween movie night before last.
I tried to watch it last night.
It sucks.
I tried to watch it last night.
Watching
Couldn't
these
do it.
things. If you'll stop watching them, and I know I did it too,
Right.
they'll stop making them.
Well, I mean, that's what you want to see.
It's so stupid.
You want to see the blood. You want to see the gore.
Hey, look, Michael Myers, we just clawed him in the head with a chainsaw, and he's still alive. So stupid.
I didn't make it to the end of the movie, and Jeremy told me how it ended, and I went, I'm so glad I didn't make it to the end of the movie.
It's so stupid.
Like, at some point, this madness has to end. At some point. I love how they've taken a, deranged killer, and now he's just invincible.
Yeah, he's just you can't kill him.
Just
Sweet, that's fun. Now he can't die. Awesome.
Kelvin Joyner says Star Wars Episode 5.
All the Batman movies are in my top 5.
I'm trying to remember which one that is.
Which one?
Star Wars Episode 5.
I've never seen a Star Wars movie.
I know. That's why I'm not relying on you to tell me which one it is. Was that Empire Strikes Back? It's got to be.
Fuck, I don't know.
I think that's right. Tell me if I'm right.
Is that the one with William Shatner in it?
Oh, stop.
Did it have Christopher Walken in it?
No.
You know.
No.
That bear
every
seems really upset. Somebody talk down that bear.
God almighty.
And the gold vacuum cleaner. The beeping trash can.
I love Chuck G so much.
I do too.
Steel Magnolias. That's a great one.
Literally, there's probably not a better movie you could have said right there that would have been any funnier.
That's one of my guilty pleasure movies. I do love that movie so much. Maybe because my cousin's in it. I don't know.
Oh, Dolly Parton.
Yeah. Long distant cousin. She doesn't even know I exist.
100%.
Right. If she did, I'd have some Dollywood money coming in.
The other vague answer to that would be, you have to turn my board on.
Oh, God.
I'm going to put a fucking note that says,
You
turn
should.
the damn board on.
I need a note right there. I'm bad for that.
Yeah, my other potential answer.
Oh, wait. Was she a great big fat person?
Silence of the Lambs. You can never go back.
Even though it has the character that pisses me off in the history, the most in the history of movies.
Mm-hmm.
Jodie Foster in that movie is fucking awful. She is horrid. That accent is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
Right.
And the fact that they make her out to be some West Virginia girl just pisses me off even more. Those nails, they look like town. Go away. Go do fucking Impact or some stupid shit.
Patrick Holt, he's getting all personal.
I miss him.
Tank's favorite movie is Magic Mike. Stop that. No, it's the one with it's the other stripper movie. The one with J-Lo.
Jiggly?
No. Was that a stripper movie?
I don't know.
Do I need to see that movie now?
I just love the fact that Jennifer Lopez did a movie.
No, it's the one
Jiggly.
it's the one that, oddly enough, it's the one that your wife showed me on Super Bowl night. I can't remember. Hustlers or something like that. Yeah.
My wife has real good taste in movies.
That's a good one.
It's one of those if you know, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jonathan Welch said that bell is dead. Well, let me show you. I noticed this yesterday after the show. So this is my bell. Do you see how my bell is not exactly proportional?
Uh-huh.
That's because it took a great fall off of my very high desk.
I feel like you could fix that with a screwdriver.
Probably. I mean, somebody could. I can't.
You could.
But somebody could.
He's not Mr. Handy. He's not Mr. Fix It.
Let's see. I'm going back through the comments to.
Although that was his nickname in high school.
100%. And it's your nickname now. Come at the king, you best not miss, bitch. Jason
God.
Trump said, question, do I start Aaron Rodgers or Carson Wentz this week? Rodgers losing top options in the card. DST has been shutting down tight ends.
Ooh.
I'm going to say I would still go Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. I don't know how it's going to happen. It's going to be a lot of Aaron Jones, but
That's exactly how it happens.
Aaron Jones can't be enough to sustain this offense.
No.
Somebody would have to step up.
Well, I mean, Marquez Valdez-Scantling's coming back.
He sucks at life.
But yeah, he's better than what they got.
He'd fuck up a blowjob. He'd talk through it.
He's better than what they got.
He'd be asking Jeopardy questions. He's not good.
I know he's not good, but he's the best downfield threat that they have.
To answer that question, you have to look at the receiving corps for the Green Bay Packers and say who's going to step up.
Mm-hmm.
And there has to be an answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's Equinemius St. Brown,
nope.
Marquez Valdez-Scantling's on IR, so it's not him.
He's being activated today.
Oh, he is being activated today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's the story anyway, is that he's being activated today.
That doesn't hurt. Amari Rodgers is the one I keep coming back to. Just going, you have talent. And I could see this being the game where they figure out how to use you.
Just completely discounting Randall Cobb, huh?
Well, I mean, Randall Cobb's role doesn't change.
Right.
He stays the slot guy. So you've got to – that's one of the mistakes people make in DFS all the time. Mm-hmm. Somebody's missing. Oh, well, who does that bump up? Well, it doesn't change Randall Cobb at all. Randall Cobb will still run the same number of routes, still run the same route tree that he did before. Now the question is who's going to play on the outside.
Right.
And to me, that answer is going to be some combination of Equinemius St. Brown, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and then you'll see some role in the passing game for Amari Rodgers and for Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
So if you think one of those guys steps up, then you start Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
If you don't, then you go Carson Wentz.
Would you? Yeah. I don't think it's as far off as you would expect.
It's not.
Carson,
I'll have Aaron Rodgers in the top. He would be top 12 back in QB1 for me this week. Yeah. Carson Wentz probably high in QB2.
Yeah. I mean, Carson Wentz has been playing pretty well for the last few weeks, and, he hasn't thrown an interception. I think it is in, 4 games, something like that. He just tied Peyton Manning's franchise record for the most multiple touchdown games without throwing an interception in a row. He's been playing pretty well. Mm-hmm. Now, up against the Tennessee Titans defense, I'm still unsure what that defense is. I know the secondary is not good.
It's not.
But
it's actually quite bad, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
And now it's quite dead.
Mm-hmm. I get that.
I don't know why people choose to. Why do you? Why? Like of all
why
times.
Why do you call
me right now?
No, I think it's a lot closer than people expect between Carson Wentz and Aaron Rodgers this week. But here's the thing: you got to ask yourself, Are you going to be just completely shocked and gobsmacked if Aaron Rodgers throws for 4 touchdowns tonight and he finds 2 to Aaron Jones and 1 to Robert Tonyan and Marquez Valdez-Scantling has one drop in his breadbasket that he actually holds on to? No, you wouldn't be shocked. Would you be shocked if Carson Wentz did that? I would be.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as they can hurt Tennessee on the ground, I would be surprised if he had that kind of ability this week to throw for 4 touchdown passes.
Anthony Hurt asked in the comments, don't make us wait, tell us what the costume is. Here's what I will give you one hint. First of all, it is hilarious. There are a few of you that our Patreon subscribers and us are in a group chat on Facebook. They have seen it, and they will verify it is really funny. And Michael Whiteside had quite possibly the funniest response I have ever seen when he actually saw it. But it is from my favorite movie that I didn't mention when this was asked earlier. If you've watched this show for any period of time, you can figure out what that is because I talk about it a lot. But I can't out the surprise because the surprise is what makes it so funny. Rob Johnson, would you play Damian Harris over Antonio Gibson? Yes, I would. Damian Harris is a high-end play for me this week.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way they keep this game close. And then who would you start between Michael Carter, Javonte Williams, or Chuba Hubbard?
I'd say
Chuba.
I'd say Javonte.
I would say Chuba. I would say Chuba, then Javonte with a Michael Carter a distant third.
Okay. Also asked in the comments early in the stream here, should the Raiders pick up Josh Jacobs' 5th-year option?
I would say yes.
I'm a yes on that as well.
I think he's still a good running back. He's just very injury prone.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, we talked about this when he got drafted. He's got that Kerryon Johnson basketball player body. This is what happens to running backs like that. That's the reason, we've long said, and there's a difference. You hear us talk about Aaron Jones and how Matt LaFleur's usage of Aaron Jones is so infuriating.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Jones could withstand the workload. I don't think Josh Jacobs could withstand more of a workload than he gets now. I don't think it's a thing of, we don't like him or whatever.
Right.
They just know he has limitations. So I would say, yes, they will. It's not a crazy – I mean, it's a high number for a running back, but it's not insane.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that they will.
I'd say he's too much of a big part of that offense. And I get that his attempts haven't been overwhelming. Like, he's not getting Derrick Henry type 25 carry games. But I think he's too important for that offense. I mean, you realize his touchdown percentage to games is super high. I want to say he's only had, this year, I think he's only had 1 game where he hasn't scored a touchdown in the games that he's played in.
Another question, Patrick Holt said, what about J.J. Watt out for the season? That's going to have a very negative effect on that Cardinals defense.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know that it's a backbreaker.
It's not a backbreaker. I will agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
J.J. Watt was playing a very high number of snaps.
Yeah.
Before last week, he hadn't played less than 72% of snaps in any game all year. And so now you're going to be, now you're going to Victor Dimukeje, who's a guy I liked coming into the draft, but there's a big damn difference between J.J. Watt and him.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to hurt, and I think it's going to hurt a lot. Here's what, and I'll tell you how I think this goes, and I could be wrong. I think you're going to see a philosophical switch in how the Cardinals play defense. Because J.J. Watt was playing a considerable number of snaps on the inside, and Michael Dogba was playing on the end.
Mm-hmm.
I could easily see them playing way more nickel-looking sets with Jordan Hicks and Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins. When J.J. Watt, and he didn't go out, he played the second half. He just didn't play the same number of snaps. You saw more of Zaven Collins.
Mm-hmm.
He played the highest snap count he's played all year. And so the good thing is that I think it makes you more multiple. It'll make you arguably better against the pass. The problem is that the way you're going to have to line this up, I could see them just getting gashed in the run game. That will be one of those, and you're going to see it tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I love Aaron Jones tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't, And then the J.J. Watt thing came out, and I started thinking about it, and I went, okay, Aaron Jones is going to have him a big old biggin.
Well, I mean, the Cardinals are a team that can be hurt by the run. Granted, they stepped up in big ways when they played the Tennessee Titans and the Cleveland Browns earlier this year. They didn't give up a whole, or they didn't give up as much as a normal team would have. So, I mean, I would say that their run defense was above average. Without J.J. Watt, that obviously does open some things up.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, I've been high on Aaron Jones since Devontae Adams. I mean, since we found out that, and somebody asked that in the comments, is he 100% out? Yeah, he's on the COVID protocol.
Oh yeah,
he can't play.
There's no shot of him playing.
Right, and so Aaron Jones obviously becomes the focal point of that offense because he's the best player that's left, aside from the quarterback, of course, and he can't throw it to himself. So,
I mean, he can. It just requires some assistance.
Yeah, it requires some assistance. It does. Chuck G also asked in the comments, will Jim Harbaugh replace Matt Nagy in Chicago?
No. Jim Harbaugh's gotten exactly where he's exactly where he wants to be. Now he could, if he goes in and beats Ohio State.
Oh, it's the world's his oyster.
Yeah, he has a job until he doesn't want a job anymore.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
Now, my question would be, who would replace Matt Nagy in Chicago? That's going to be a job much like Philadelphia was this year. It's going to require a specific kind of candidate that believes in Justin Fields. And frankly, I don't know who that is.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you, everything I said about Justin Fields last year in the pre-draft, I didn't pull it out of my ass. It was coming from other people that do what I do, that had contact with him. There was a great disbelief in him inside league circles.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they are really going to struggle to find somebody that wants that job, at least a high-end candidate. I'm not saying you got to sacrifice all the way down to Nick Sirianni, because there are more people that believed in Justin Fields than believed in Jalen Hurts.
Right.
But it could look very similar to that. G-Baby asked in the comments, who's my favorite corner in the upcoming draft? It's Derek Stingley by a decent amount.
Mm-hmm.
If you told me one of these guys turned into Patrick Peterson, I would say it's him. But there is another top 10 corner named Kyer Elam out of Florida. Younger brother of Matt Elam that played at Florida, played for the Baltimore Ravens, bounced around the league for a while. He's a very talented player. There are actually a lot of corners in this draft. And if you ever want to tell your friends why you should watch this show live, it's because of what I'm about to do right now.
We're going to see it?
I got asked no less than 10,000 draft questions over the course of the last week.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a thing. And I'm only going to give out this much on this show. But to the people that are watching, the NFL draft this year is going to be fun. And we're going to do a bunch of things. We're going to the draft. Invite your friends. If you invite your friends and you put it in the comments, we'll put you in a drawing to come with us to Vegas. The Wolfpack goes to Vegas, and we will be a 4-man Wolfpack at the NFL draft. As I have stated, I can't guarantee that I can get you in because of COVID protocols. I've learned my lesson on things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they put it in very big, bold letters. But top 10. We got a little thrower out there, mock 10. A little thrower out there, mock draft. Huh?
All right, who did you run this through?
This is through Pro Football Focus.
Through Pro Football Focus. Okay. Kayvon Thibodeau. You shouldn't go that way with the third pick, apparently.
Yeah, they're drunk on that.
God,
don't mind that.
C+.
But yeah, I've got Sam Howell going number 1 to the Detroit Lions. There is a possibility, and you just kind of have to take the journey with this, of there is a possibility that you're going to see something happen that is, I don't necessarily think it's what they would want to do, but you may be forced to. You may be forced to take Matt Corral at 1. Because if Matt Corral wins, especially if he wins the Heisman, if he wins the Heisman, you've got, and we've got a couple Detroit Lion fans that watch the show, they can probably verify what I'm getting ready to say. If Corral wins the Heisman and he's got that much hype, it's going to be hard to sell that fan base on Sam Howell, whose comps are going to be Baker Mayfield and, high-end game manager quarterbacks. I think he's much better than that. He is clearly my number 1 quarterback. Now, that being said, it could be hard to sell a fan base on not Matt Corral. who I have going to the Houston Texans. Sorry, I ran myself out of breath. So
you got Sam Howell at 1, Matt Corral 2, Kayvon Thibodeau 3, Kyle Hamilton 4, Derek Stingley 5.
And I'm sure a lot of people will say, "Oh, how does Kayvon Thibodeau fall to 3?" Well, because he's not a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a way that the first 2 picks in this draft aren't the Texans and the Lions. I don't see a way those 2 teams don't come out of this draft with a young quarterback. Now, where do I have those 2 guys ranked? I have Sam Howell at 13. I have Matt Corral at 20. So is it a reach? Yes, because Kayvon Thibodeau is my one with a bullet.
Mm-hmm.
But Jacksonville already has the young quarterback, so they can take him there.
Right.
I'm sure somebody will grizzle it. Will the Jets really take a safety at 4 after Jamal Adams? Yeah, because Kyle Hamilton's just a different damn dude. Kyle Hamilton could be Ed Reed-esque. He could be Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu all rolled into one.
Mm-hmm.
That's how good this kid is. He's the best safety I've ever graded.
See, DeMarvin Leal looks low to me on that list.
Well, he's not because there are – I mean, here's the thing. You got to look at what's in front of him. Malik Willis, the quarterback at 9 to Washington, there's going to be 3 quarterbacks go in the top 10 whether I like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
I've been told that by practically anybody that will – anybody that I talk to in this has said you're going to get at least 3, it may be 4.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on what the Atlanta Falcons do.
Yeah.
And I think the Falcons are so stuck with Matt Ryan that they don't want to take the dead cap hit. They know this is a long term, so they take Aiden Hutchinson out of Michigan, who is a phenomenal edge rusher.
Mm-hmm.
I'll break down the tape on him after the season's over. I'm planning on doing player profiles for every draftable player I have a grade on. So those will be on the website, and you'll get my fun 3 minutes on every player, and we'll play them at the draft. And
Rob Johnson asks, where do you have Kenny Pickett?
Kenny Pickett's going to be a really tough he'll be a really tough draft grade solely because he's 23 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of teams are figuring out that these quarterbacks that look fantastic when they're 2 years older than everybody they're playing against, they tend to come into the league and look very, very average. So to me, I go back and watch the tape on Kenny Pickett from 2 years ago. I don't feel like his weapons are markedly better now. I don't feel – has he gotten better? Of course he has. But I don't feel like I feel like that's a better evaluation tape on Kenny Pickett.
Yep.
Where does he go in the draft? I think he will go on day 2. I think Kenny Pickett will be one of those guys that may even get invited to the draft, and he's going to sit there for longer than people think, and it's going to be almost solely because of the age. Because you're looking at what he's doing now, just going, well, why did you not do this 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Why were you not this guy 2 years ago? Oh, because you're just – I mean, just think about yourself from 19 to 23. The man body shows up a lot more in the very early 20s, and I think that's a lot of what's happening with Kenny Pickett.
Mm-hmm. I'm still waiting on mine to show up.
Yeah, you are.
So Patrick is not sold. Patrick's not sold that Sam Howell should be the number 1 pick in the draft. It's been he said he hasn't looked serviceable this year, which is to me absolutely false. You see the arm talent, you see the what's really been on display this year with Sam is the mobility.
So here's what you have to do with quarterbacks, and this is and Tank can verify this. Anybody that's watched us for an extended period of time, receivers have gotten me at times. I get duped by receivers more often than I get duped by anything.
Mm-hmm.
And now, if I'm really on somebody, you should probably listen to me. If I'm off of them, you probably should do do your own criteria. Looking at you, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
Quarterbacks, I have the highest hit rate of anybody that does this. And there's one simple reason, because I have figured out a formula of how to get away from all the things that are not NFL problems. This line that's in front of
Sam Howell
mm-hmm. is not an NFL problem.
No.
The worst line you'll ever see is not going to look like this. And it's for lack of a better word, it's a lack of talent. The cohesion, and we talked about that forever. It's just not that good.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, this line is just not that good. The weapons are young. He's got Josh. Look at his connection with Josh Downs. Josh Downs could very easily be an All-American this year on a team that goes 7-5. That should tell you everything you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Once you lock in on that target and you have that comfort in that, when you see a guy in their comfort zone, you have to realize that in the NFL, they're going to build an offense for that. College doesn't really work that way anymore. Now it's hard to build an offense for a specific quarterback because you never know. They could get pissed off, i.e. Spencer Rattler, and the next thing you know, you've built an offense for a quarterback that you don't have anymore.
Right.
And that's a problem. So there's always a little bit of open-ended with college offenses. I think that's what's gotten Sam Howell this year. Plus, they just don't run the ball well. Mm-hmm. This is not a balanced team. The scheme is really hard it's hard to hammer down. When you get to the brass tacks of Sam Howell, I still see the best quarterback in this class. Now, the question would be why? Do I see Sam as the number one quarterback, number one player in this draft? No, I don't. Kayvon Thibodeau is the safest player in this draft. It's not even close. Mm-hmm. Derek Stingley's pretty close. Little injury issues with him. There's some behind the scenes. Not everybody loves where his head's at all times. Talent-wise, they're better. Sam Howell is the premier player in this class at the premier position. Matt Corral, my fear is he's a system quarterback. Mm-hmm. Now, can you do things a la how Cliff Kingsbury's done with Kyler Murray in the NFL and make a system quarterback work? Yes. And that's what you're going to have to do. Mm-hmm. You know, the thing for me is I've got Matt Corral going to the Houston Texans as of right now. It would very much dictate where the coaching search goes. I don't think David Culley is a multiple-year head coach of the Houston Texans. I would start thinking outside the box. And there's a name, and you're going to tell me I'm crazy.
Okay.
I know before I say this, you're going to tell me I'm crazy. Lincoln Riley.
To Houston?
Yep.
Yeah, you're crazy.
Back the brakes truck up. Back it up. This year has worn on him. It has worn on Lincoln Riley. He knows he could stay at Oklahoma for the rest of his life. But do you want to? And I'm telling you, you're going to see more high-end college coaches that just go, you know what, I don't want to do this. Mm-hmm. That's why Mike Tomlin said, never would I go. Because why would I want to do that? Mm-hmm. Why would I want to go recruit like this? For a quarterback at Spencer Rattler that it took 3 years to get the full commitment from. And now, 2 starting years in, he's been tough. He's been tough to deal with. Mm-hmm. He's not a pleasant kid. And I'm just going to tell you, every coach that's ever left college and gone to the NFL, I can point to a player. And right now, I can point to Spencer Rattler and go, that's why Lincoln Riley would listen. Mm-hmm. It's not the glitz and glamour of the Dallas Cowboys. You're not getting that job. You're not. Jerry Jones is at the root of his core. He's not going to back the Brinks truck up and then give you full autonomy. Mm-hmm. You know who will? The
Nick
McNair
Casario.
family. The McNair family will.
Okay.
And drafting a quarterback like that, you need somebody that understands that kind of college-y spread offense. I'm not saying he would take it. I'm saying that's my first call.
Yeah.
That is my number one call. That is you're going to have to tell me no.
If I'm him, there's no way I take that job.
And I disagree with you. I'll be honest with you, you couldn't get me to take a college job right now. Until they legislate the transfer portal, just use Lincoln Riley as the example. Mm-hmm. Look at how infuriating his life is right now. You've got Spencer Rattler, who's sitting here, won't even wear Oklahoma shit anymore outside of the jersey, because he's so contentious, because he's such a prick that he thinks he's the best quarterback on this team, in spite of the fact that everybody with an IQ above salad dressing knows he's wrong. Mm-hmm. Why would I want to deal with that? Why do I want to deal with this contentious little 20-year-old shit? Or I can go to the NFL, make a buku of money, and if I turn this franchise around, they'll build statues to me outside the stadium.
It's a big if, though. To me, that's a big if. And if I'm taking a job and I'm Lincoln Riley, I'm taking a job that's got some prospect. And I get that
it does have prospects.
I get that Houston's got they're going to have a top 2 pick next year, and they're going to get a boatload of picks from the Deshaun Watson deal whenever it comes down.
And Rob Johnson just hit exactly why he would listen to this. Mm-hmm. Where are you headed in 2 years? Look at Oklahoma. You think they're competitive in the SEC? Because the answer is no.
Right.
You want the you want the zeal to come off that rose? Go to the SEC and start getting your brains beat in by Auburn.
Oh, yeah. Be 8-4 routinely.
Not even 8-4. I'm talking about just be physically pushed around in the SEC. Because you would be. Because that's the one place that recruits big, gigantic defensive players that will just shift around the spread. Mm-hmm. Even more than the NFL. The NFL is playing spready type concepts more than the SEC is.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm telling you, if I'm Lincoln Riley, I would at least listen.
Sure. I mean, I'm going to listen to every offer. The problem is I'm going to pick my shot where, and I don't think it's with the Houston Texans. Since we're talking
That's an attractive job solely because of how much control they would give you.
Yeah. Since we're talking about college coaches going pro, So Adam Black says the big rumor that he's been reading that if James Franklin goes to USC, then Penn State would back up the Brinks truck for Matt Rule.
And he would tell them to go fuck off.
Uh-huh.
Matt Rule would tell them to go fuck down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Rule did not love the college game. But Matt Rule is proof positive of why Lincoln Riley will ultimately take an NFL job. Can't tell you which one it is. Can we be real honest about Matt Rule? He was a good college coach.
Mm-hmm.
He would have never been offered the Penn State job. Ever. If he'd stayed at Baylor,
No.
you never get offered that job.
No.
But you go to the NFL, and you get that experience, and you get that notoriety
Now
as
you're a
being
name.
a face that's been on an NFL team, and now you can have any job you want.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing with Lincoln Riley. All right, let's say you go to the NFL, and 3 years later you go, well, this sucks. What do you do then? Let's say he had done that 3 years ago, and now he's looking at it going, well, this sucks. He could have the USC job, the LSU job, the Penn State job if James Franklin takes USC. Miami, have any job he wants. Anything. Absolutely, you're going to do it eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, you will do it eventually.
Yeah. I don't foresee Matt Rule leaving the Carolina Panthers.
And Adam Black said he went to Penn State. I know. I don't care. I do not care. Matt Rule likes the pro game. And I'm not saying he would hang around forever, but he flirted with this. He was almost the Jets coach. When we hired Adam Gase, we had agreed to terms with Matt Rule.
Yep.
But we wouldn't let him hire his own staff because we didn't want him to bring in Phil Snow, who was a defensive, a college defensive guy by trade. And I think you're starting to see a little bit of why with Carolina because Phil Snow looks overmatched defensively, not every week, but more than you would want.
Right.
And that's why that fell apart. Matt Rule wanted out of college. I don't see him 2 years later going, nope, now I'm in.
No.
And I'm going to be real honest with you. He doesn't have to. All right, so let's say Penn State's his ultimate net job. Do you want to be the guy that replaces James Franklin? Because I don't.
No.
Because that's the guy that brought this program back from the brink of destruction. And if you don't believe me, listen to LeVar Arrington, who does an unbelievable morning show, by the way. Just because we work for ESPN doesn't mean that I can't give credit to people that work for Fox. LeVar Arrington and Brady Quinn and Jonas Knox do an incredible morning show.
Yeah. Far superior.
You said that, not me.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, I distanced myself from that. Because
ESPN National wants to come after me. I'm okay with it.
now taking applications for my new co-host.
Change your damn morning show.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
It's
give it to
unlistenable.
Us. Hell, give it to us.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Absolutely.
I'll do it from right here. I don't live in Bristol, Connecticut, but I'll do it from right here.
Right. You didn't think that show could get worse, but it did. It did somehow. Armchair Commentary says Ricky Seals-Jones or Pat Freiermuth this week.
I'll go Pat Freiermuth. I think the role's going to keep growing. Pat Freiermuth's been my dirty little tight end pickup. I like to call him the McRib of tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
He's been my dirty little pickup that I feel gross when I do it, but I'm going to love it. But I'm going to love it. I love the talent on Pat Freiermuth.
Mm-hmm. As you should. I loved him when he was at Penn State, and now he's with the Steelers, and Ben Roethlisberger's calling him Heath Miller 2.0. I'm all in. So, yeah, and to me,
G-Baby said
the matchup's fine.
G-Baby said job is filled up in 5 minutes. I'm assuming he's talking about the Penn State job. You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
But it won't be somebody like Matt Rule. Because here's how I would see the Penn State thing happening. All right, let's say James Franklin takes the USC job, and there's so much smoke there that I think we have to at least acknowledge it.
Right.
If that happens, you're going to see, I would say, a mid-tier coach take the Penn State job. Luke Fickell is one that would jump off the page to me because he does have that Midwestern footprint.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of another one off the top of my head, but I think you'll see somebody slide into that job and they'll take a step back. Because James Franklin is an elite head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, G-Baby was talking about my co-host job if Tank got fired for talking shit about Keyshawn Johnson.
Oh, it wasn't Keyshawn that I'm really mad at.
Max Kellerman.
Oh, yeah.
Max Kellerman there's a dartboard in this studio with Max Kellerman's face on it.
Ooh.
Because he pisses us off a lot.
Uh-huh. Anyhow, we don't do politics. I'm not getting into it.
Brandon Hardwick said, why would you leave the Big Ten for the Pac-12? Think about it. I have a path
to clear a path. Yeah.
I have a path at USC where I have to beat Oregon. That's it. And people say, oh, nobody cares. here's the thing that I've learned about the West Coast. They care about a winner.
Yeah, they care about who wins.
They care about a winner.
Mm-hmm.
And L.A., you're never going to be to the Pete Carroll level, but you can get to you're still a face of L.A.
Mm-hmm.
In the Big Ten, Penn State is never going to be consistently better than Ohio State.
Right.
They will only, I can't say consistently, they'll be better than Michigan some. Now you got Michigan State that seems to be knocking on the door. There are a lot of programs out there.
Yeah.
There's not in the Pac-12. There are 2 legitimate programs in that entire conference. So you can go to USC. And here's the other thing. Do you want to wake up in State College, Pennsylvania, or on the beach in L.A.?
L.A.
There you go.
No doubt.
And for me, I'm not sure I would even love that because that's where all those damn liberals live.
I mean, the football atmosphere would be better. The support level would be better. But, yeah, we don't do that.
Yeah.
The support level would be better. The atmosphere would be better for football at State College, but no, you choose L.A. each and every time. And like we said, things are cyclical. There was a time 10 years ago where USC was the game in town. I don't see a reason why that can't be again.
By the way, I'm not trying to cut you off here. I'm looking at the comments and I'm thinking about this is what we're doing Thursdays from now on.
Mm-hmm.
This is the right guy. We've been trying to narrow down what to do on Thursdays, and this is 100% it.
Oh, absolutely. But do you foresee where that will happen again, where USC will be the game in town again in L.A.? You didn't see it coming the first time.
I don't see a path where they're I don't see them being the ticket anymore because the Dodgers are still going to be good. They're still going to throw money at things.
Mm-hmm.
So the Dodgers will be good forever. I understand that they're out in Chavez Ravine and that's, out away from the city.
Right.
The Lakers are probably not going to take too many steps back, and even if they do, you're going to have the Clippers. There's just and now you got 2 NFL teams. And I got news for you. It's becoming very bougie to be at it's becoming very bougie to be at Chargers and Rams games.
Well, of course it is, because that's the hottest place to be on a Sunday.
And it's also getting very hot to be around Stan Kroenke. Stan Kroenke. I will pay for all of the legal fees.
No, it won't.
5 minutes later. I will pay for none of the legal fees, and you can suck it.
Yeah.
Daniel Calderon said, I'm a U.S. First of all, he said, are you as excited about the game tonight as I am? I actually am, yes. And the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm thinking that Arizona's a trap. I think this might be a trap, and I'm falling into it because I think Green Bay might be the side to be on. But he said, I'm a USC alumni. It's still USC. USC is always going to be a top-tier program.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. They are still the premier program on the West Coast, and they always will be.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, you're still going to be the premier franchise.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's why the heat is so high there. That's why everybody lined up against Clay Helton almost immediately was because you're not winning.
That's because that was a bad hire.
Right.
Straight up. And I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Calderon knows this obviously better than I do because he's from out there and lived through it. There was a lot of leeway given to a lot of coaches in USC history. John Robinson was not particularly great for a long time. And now I know I'm going back to the 90s, but still, when you hire a mediocre coach like Clay Helton, the fire's already turned up to 6 because half the people didn't like the hire in the first place. There's nobody with an IQ above salad dressing that's not going to like James Franklin instantaneously.
Right.
They see that hire and go, that's the guy.
Mm-hmm.
He took Penn State from the brink of destruction to top 10 rankings. Follow that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Just follow that guy.
I think they knock it out of the park with whatever hire they make. I'm starting to feel like James Franklin is the guy.
He is the guy. I know he's the guy.
That's going to get that job.
He will have to say no.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get in his head and tell you he's going to take it, but I can tell you definitively he's the one that's going to get the offer first. And if it's not him, it's Luke Fickell, and I don't love that. I think Luke Fickell would have the exact same problem that Clay Helton had.
Mm-hmm.
You're a big fish in a little pond. You come out here, it's a big pond, and now you're a little fish.
Mm-hmm. Which is sad because it's the smallest of the big ponds.
Cincinnati?
No, out in the Pac-12.
Yeah, but see, this is another misnomer that people – this is that East Coast bias thing. What else do you watch at 10:30 at night? What other games are going on? If you're good,
I get it.
Do you remember when USC was good and they were the only game in town at night?
Mm-hmm.
They would play those games at 9 o'clock on the East Coast. It'd be 6 o'clock on the West Coast. It would start with the sun out. It would end with the sun down. If you're good, you can still do that. 100% you can still do that.
Mm-hmm.
Clay Helton doesn't do that because they suck. But they won't. I got news for you. They got 2 picks in my first in the first 40 picks in my first mock draft.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a team that's bereft of. I just saw Patrick Holt's comments. This is not a team that's bereft of talent. It's not been coached well. Holt asked which salad dressing has the highest IQ. Catalina is the one that's just.
Catalina?
Yeah, that's just bouncing around in my head.
Why?
Because it's got a snooty. It's some kind of vinaigrette. You know what has the lowest IQ?
Ranch.
Thousand Island. You know why?
No, it's ranch.
Because it's the most delicious and bad for you and wonderful.
No, I would say, really? It's the most delicious?
Oh, God,
Stop that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
You're only
That's not
saying that
debatable.
because it's got pickles in it.
No, it's not even debatable. It's just.
It's 100% debatable,
Yeah,
and you're
facts don't get much
100% wrong.
Yeah, no,
There's a
what's
reason
better?
that the entire country puts ranch on everything.
Not the entire country.
Well, not the entire country, but you know what I mean.
Oh, wait. I pointed the wrong way. Beep, beep.
What?
Oh, wait.
That's not my favorite salad
You're a
dressing.
great big fat person.
Isn't it, though?
It's not.
What is yours?
Vidalia onion. The yellow shit with the poppy seeds in it. Yeah, it's good. It's really good. That's my ultimate favorite.
There's a lot of blue cheese people in our comments.
Blue cheese is good every now and then. It always goes with chicken wings. You're wrong. It always goes with chicken wings. Always goes.
So funny you said that. We have we've been splitting our football Sundays between the Social, which is owned by our executive producer, and it's a place we love to go because we watch football with. I mean, anybody that wants to come join us, but Chief David Zach is with us on Sundays. We absolutely love watching football on Sundays with those guys.
Yep.
Well, we've been splitting our time between the Social and Village Porch. Well, Village Porch is owned by somebody that I don't know where he is from. Wonderful guy. If you live in Asheville, give that place a chance. I live right beside it, so I'm very biased. But,
yeah.
And I love the owner and I love the wait staff. But they have blue cheese that doesn't taste like blue cheese. I don't know what it is. I ate it twice before anybody felt the urge to tell me, hey, you know what that is, right? That's not ranch.
So it's blue cheese that tastes like ranch?
No, it's blue. No. Well, first of all, I smoke like a freight train, so I don't have the greatest taste buds in the world.
Okay.
My taste buds are a lot like Grimace. Okay. They've seen some shit. That joke had layers.
It had so many layers.
To
I
that
love
joke,
that.
and it came off the top of my head. But yeah, apparently I ate blue cheese 2 weeks in a row and had no idea and loved it. So I now can't slam on blue cheese anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I won't be doing that with, guacamole. It's still gross. Okay, no, but you got to pick a salad dressing that's not some myopic ass.
It's not myopic.
Salad dressing. You go to a normal restaurant that has the stereotypical 5 selections. What are you choosing?
Depends on the mood, but
depends on the mood.
Generally,
at 300 pounds, you stop getting to say, "Wait, I'm in a Greek vinaigrette mood." No,
I'm never in that mood.
You have a fat ass salad dressing selection, and I know it, and I want to know what it is.
There's three. There's three that I rotate between. It's Thousand Island, ranch, and blue cheese.
So you just hit them all.
It just depends on like I said, depends on the mood. Sometimes I'm feeling like that, tomatoey based of the Thousand Island.
G Baby said, "I'm in a good mood today. Must be the power of the McRib." You're not wrong.
100%.
I also love answering questions. So I want to take everybody that's in this stream behind the scenes of this.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, we're going to stop doing morning live streams every day.
Yep.
Reasonably soon. Because now that we got the live stream in the afternoon, it's hat on a hat. It becomes very hard sometimes to get this animated. I mean, you'll see if you saw me yesterday on the ESPN stream. We had come up with a topic. It was a Wednesday topic. I didn't love the topic very quickly, which is sad because I picked it. And so we go down this rabbit hole, and it's like, okay, I don't have any gumption here. But when you say something in the comments and you have a dedicated opinion, I almost feel like you're arguing with me in the comments, and I like that. And that's when you'll get the most animated version of me. So that's why we're going to do more things like this. You will, I hope, see an option in the comments of the YouTube stream this afternoon. If you're a Patreon subscriber, do not click that button. I'm trying to make them both work together. But it's a YouTube membership thing. It's a couple bucks a month, and you get a emoji next to your name, and we'll answer comments and things like that. That's what the morning show is going to turn into. At least that's the objective. That's what he and I have talked about.
Right.
Is right now we're doing 3 hours of content a day. And there's a reason that not many people do that, because it gets very hard to.
Yeah, we're not all Mike Greenberg.
Yeah, Mike Greenberg.
We don't have slews of producers to go, hey, here's your talking points, go.
No, I mean, and there's just there are certain things that I just can't get animated about. You know, Mark Lemke, I think he was great on our show yesterday talking about baseball, and we're going to do way more interviews. That's one of the things we've done behind the scenes for the last, God, how long have we been working on that? 4 months? Of having just a dedicated list of people that we're going to be working with, and some of them are really cool people. You'll start seeing interviews more on the afternoon show. So, Patrick Holt said it gets watered down like some vinaigrettes. That's the point. So what we're going to use this for is a forum like this, where we can just have a great big, AA meeting for sports. I've also had about 6 cups of coffee, so that's not hurting anything either. I think that's also why I'm sweating through my eyelids.
Right. Somebody asked in the comments, 2019 LSU versus 2020 Alabama. Who wins?
2019 LSU.
Agreed. I agree. Because here's the thing. We saw that. We saw that in 2019. We saw what happened when LSU and Alabama got together, and that was a hell of a game. However, LSU ended up winning that game. Now, you telling me that as Mac Jones comes in to be the quarterback, it would be different? No, I don't think so. No,
and I just think that LSU offense was special. I mean, there's just not a lot of, a lot of things have. I just don't see how you stop them. I don't see how any college football team ever stops that LSU team. Armchair Commentary asked, is Jeff Fisher getting a college job?
No. Is he?
Maybe.
Oh, my God.
There are a lot of schools that are looking at Jeff Fisher right now going, he went to USC. So that's the reason you're going to hear him rumored out there. He is the definition of a fallback candidate out there. But the reason he's working with Eddie George right now was to prop himself up. He's one of the coaches that actually wants to go to college. He got very tired of dealing with personalities in the NFL. You got to remember, Jeff Fisher was once thought to be the best coach in the NFL for an extended period of time. And then he started dealing with personalities, and it went awry. He also asked, did you try the Arby's rib sandwich?
Not yet.
I believe you will be seeing that reasonably soon.
I can't see Jeff Fisher being a successful college coach. Will he get a job off of his reputation? Sure. Will he get a major college job? I highly doubt it. Because here's the thing: if you're sick of doing personalities, this is not the generation that you want to coach in college football.
Depends on where you go. I don't think he's a candidate for the USC job.
I mean, if he goes to Georgia State, maybe.
Well, he was a candidate at Idaho. Like, he was a finalist for Idaho.
Perfect. There you go.
I think he would love that job.
Yeah, buried out in the Midwest. Nobody gives a shit if you win or lose. You just run a hard-nosed program.
And he's a dude that loves to hunt. He loves the outdoors. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, North Dakota State. Montana. Yeah, go bury yourself out there somewhere. That's fine. You could become college football's Tubby Smith.
G Baby said the afternoon show is good because if I miss it, I can listen on iHeartRadio app after work. Starting next week, you'll be able to listen to it everywhere. Apple Podcast, Facebook Podcast, Spotify. Go find one of those government drones and twist its head, and you'll just hear my voice. Don't do that. That's crimes.
Yeah, that's crimes.
I mean, especially depending on the kind of bird.
Especially if you get one of those drones, that's destruction of government property, and that's federal prison.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Adam Black said, how soon till Dion at FSU? I don't know that that's going to happen, but Dion's going to get a bigger job.
Mm-hmm.
Florida State's still all in on Mike Norvell. You know, for those of you who don't know, I am a booster at Florida State, so I have reasonably decent connections at Florida State. Now, I'm a very low-level booster.
Mm-hmm.
If you looked at the chart and it was, hey, guys that Tank knows the name I'm thinking of, that are up here, I'm down here.
Uh-huh.
I'm at the bottom of the pyramid. But still, they're still all in on Mike Norvell.
Mm-hmm.
G-Baby asked, number one all-time NFL player. I think you and I are going to have a different answer on this. Best player of all time.
Number one all-time NFL player.
You're going to say Brady, so let me just...
I want to, but I'm not gonna. I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go with a skill position player. Jerry Rice.
Mine's Barry Sanders.
Jerry Rice was the greatest thing I have ever seen. When I was a kid growing up, I mean, he was already past winning Super Bowls when I started watching football. The San Francisco, there was nothing bigger in football when I, realized what football was and wanted to start watching and playing football. Nothing in the sport was bigger than the Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers. You had Joe Montana and Jerry Rice in their heyday. You had Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith with the Dallas Cowboys. Everything was about those two teams. Jerry Rice was just a different animal. I think he's my number one all-time player across the board. I get Tom Brady's got all the Super Bowls, and he's my quarterback, and he brought me a Super Bowl. I get it. Winning Super Bowls does matter. But when you're talking about overall player, there was never an athletic marvel in the NFL, to me, like there was with Jerry Rice.
Hold on, I got to do this just because this name's been said 3 times in the comments. You keep talking. I'll be right back.
Okay. Lawrence Taylor. Yeah. Oh, Lawrence Taylor. You can't go wrong. I mean, he was on. Yeah, see now you've touched it and now it's sinking. Unfortunately, I was not old enough for Lawrence Taylor when he played at Carolina. And yeah, the early days with the Giants, or I won't even say the early days. I mean, right around those 90s time was when Lawrence was starting to fade off and the cocaine issues became a thing and all of that. Like, I mean, he was a freak. He was an absolute freak. But he's not my number one. Yeah.
LT's very high up there for me. Mine's Barry Sanders.
Barry
Sanders did more with less than any player in NFL history. And that's just talent for talent.
Mm-hmm.
This has been fun.
Yeah.
This is what we should do on Thursdays now.
Yeah. Daniel Calderon says Aaron Donald, the best defensive tackle of all time. Probably.
He's up there.
Probably. You know my answer, so my answer is obviously the quarterback killer, Warren Sapp. He's the greatest defensive tackle to me.
Yeah, I would take.
But yeah, I think Aaron Donald has surpassed him in his pass rushing abilities. I don't know the stats off the top of my head or the percentages or the pass rush win rate or whatever. I would say Aaron Donald's number 1 and Warren Sapp's number 2.
Yeah. I mean, I would go Aaron Donald 1, but that's just me. Today we will be doing game previews. So we will have every game in the preview. Yeah,
doing this, I don't even know that the hour has passed.
And I'll be honest with you, that's the thing. This show right here required less prep. I've got everything done for the rest of the day. And that's just glorious to me. And this has been more fun than any show we've done in several days. This has been fun for me. I love doing this.
I do as well.
I think this is the iteration of the morning show to do.
This was the original idea. This was the original idea for Threadbare Thursdays. It's just for us to be able to get together. I mean, there's a couple of things we can talk about. We can talk about the Thursday night football game. We can talk about matchups. We can answer fantasy questions and all that. But it's the deeper stuff that I like. I like having these debates of greatest defensive tackles of all time and greatest players of all time. And, even who in a fantasy world you would pull for if your team didn't exist.
I love questions like that. That's just those are things that we can't do on the ESPN show, and that's kind of what this is for things like that where you can directly interact and it's just it's been a good morning.
Mm-hmm. Kevin Vick says Brady's the greatest quarterback, not the greatest overall player.
I would agree with that.
Yep. I agree. Join us this afternoon, ESPN Asheville, and, of course, right here on YouTube as we stream the Sportsocracy PM show, 3 to 5 every weekday afternoon. You can hear us on the iHeartRadio app and, of course, watch us right here. Get in touch with us in the chat box. It's the best way to do it. And, of course, we will we'll bring you more. So we're going to do football previews tomorrow.
That will be out after the ESPN show. They should be tied together. I'm still figuring out how to use this software. You can't see this because we just show my head up over the little war room right here. There are 2 different computers in front of me running at all times. There's a lot of shit that goes into this. And, well, this is not what I do. I've had to teach myself these things.
Right.
So I'm learning as we go. For some reason, YouTube won't give you the option to pair certain videos together. So guess what I'm going to do?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to watch a YouTube video about it. Circle of life, bitches. Circle of life.
All right, we'll see you on the radio side this afternoon. And hit that like button, hit subscribe as well so you get all of our content as it comes out here on the channel. Also, if you're watching this and you can't figure out why you can't interact in the chat, it's because you got to be a subscriber.
Yep.
Hit that subscribe button, and you can chat away with us whenever we are live here in the Wicked Weed studio. WickedWeedBrewing.com. Drink different. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene. And we'll see you next time.